Hey folks, this is Picohan from the North American server, and this is the Tier 7 Japanese destroyer, the Akatsuki. So this is kind of an old free play now. I've been a little reluctant to show it because it's kind of bugged thanks to the excellent programming of this game. You'll see that you can't actually see shells or torpedoes, which is doubly annoying because this is a destroyer. But I still really like this game. It's probably one of my most memorable in the Akatsuki. Unfortunately, the other most memorable game is a very boring one. So in the end, I said, okay, we should record this one. This game does a good job of showing off all of the attributes of the Akatsuki. So the map is Fault Line, it's Domination, and a shout out to Barrel Tighter in the old KanColle and Mighty Earl in the Shiratsuyu. The Akatsuki, I always say, is the best boat in the game that nobody ever talks about. You have some really OP things like the Belfast, and everybody knows it's OP and people talk about it, but this is a really good ship and no one ever says anything about it. The main thing about the ship is that it has the 3x3 launcher configuration with 10-kilometer torps, and 3x3 is ridiculously strong in this game. Normally, torpedo tubes or torpedo launchers reload by the number of torpedoes in the launcher, so a 3 will reload faster than a 4, and so on and so forth. And a 3x3 means that not only do you have more torps than, say, a 2x4, but they reload faster as well. The launchers are also centerline, so you can launch them all in either direction, unlike some 3x3 configs like the Mayhan or the Udaloy. You saw, or you didn't see, because it's bugged, I launched 2 sets against the Leningrad and 1 set against the Fiji, but the Leningrad gets nuked, so those torps obviously aren't going to hit. I think he got hit by one of Earl's torps. We do get a hit on the Fiji in his smoke, though. So the reload on the torps is 76 seconds stock, and you can get that down to 68 with the torpedo armament expertise skill. Despite that, the torps themselves are actually pretty good, with a speed of 62 knots and 17,000 damage per torp. You can see that number pretty much reflected in the 16 I got on the Fiji. I do want to contest this cap, but since this is a Japanese destroyer, you can't really go brawl another destroyer and expect it to come out well. The ship does have serviceable guns, especially for a torpedo boat, but it's not going to win you that one-on-one gunfight. So we'll launch another set of torps at the Fiji, and we'll just kind of wait here. You can see on the minimap that the other destroyer who was in here is already leaving, so we just need to get rid of the Fiji before we can go in the cap. If the torps don't hit him, at least maybe they can get him out of his smoke, and we can help barrel on him. This is the right kind of time to use your guns when you've got an opponent who's low and he's distracted by one of your friendlies, although in the end we do hit another torp and then our guns finish him off. With the Fiji out of the way, I can try to go back in the cap. Barrel's already in there. Took a cheeky shot at the Koenig for no better reason than I felt far enough away from him that it wasn't going to be too big of a problem. He does go into the enemy destroyer smoke, so we do become unspotted, or we'll fade out in and out of detection as we drive by here. The King George looks like he wants to push in. I'm going to get up to this island and see what he tries to do. While the Akatsuki does have a big stealth torping buffer, despite its high base detection or modified detection of 6.7 with Concealment Expert, a lot of times it's more reliable to torp unaware ships by getting behind an island and waiting for them to drive by. Sometimes, if the opponent is smart, that can kind of turn into a stalemate, but that's why you should still give yourself at least a little bit of distance to get away if it turns into a standoff or whatever. Here, I'm just waiting to see what he's gonna do. Of course, I'm telling Beryl on the comms to make sure he doesn't run into my torps. I think the King George is trying to charge Earl in his smoke on my left, so finally I dump the torps and try to get back into cover, because there are planes spotting me, and there are other ships over there who can shoot at me. I eat more damage than I would like from these dive bombers. I don't know if I drop the smoke to cover Beryl or myself, but we do get behind this island and we're safe for now. The King George got killed by Earl's torps. I have no idea how accurate mine is, or due to the bugginess of this replay. Another ship seems to want to repeat the same mistake as the King George, though. It looks like another King George, actually. So we'll just kind of try to get those torps where we can. We are very close to the King George, but since there's still this smoke between me and him, he can't see me if I try to poke out and drop another set. The problem is I don't really have the angle, or earlier the reload, to do so. That being said, we do land a torp, and he must have eaten other torps as well, since he looked like he was at full health when he came around the island. But either way, I'll put my other two torps on the New Mexico, who seems to want to push in again. Thus far, these enemies have been kind of dumb in trying to push around these islands when they know there's destroyers waiting for them. But at the same time, this is suddenly becoming a dangerous position. I've got the destroyer out in the west, I've got the Koenig in front of me, and I've got the New Mexico in back of me, who does not seem to have eaten my torps. So I make the decision. I think the easiest person for me to kill right now is the Koenig, so I'm going to rush him and not worry about the destroyer or the New Mexico back there. Then if I kill the Koenig, I can get back into cover and get away from these other two. And I just want to get as close as possible before I launch the torps. I launch them in a way such that I anticipate that he's turning, and I think these are going to be pretty good. We ate a little bit of damage from his secondaries driving past there, but really this was a lot less than I expected. And suddenly in front of us is the aircraft carrier. So there's no reason not to use the guns here. There's not really anybody that close who can put any effective firepower on us, and the Independence basically has no armor. So I'm just going to try to gunboat him for a while. So when they did the Japanese destroyer split, maybe a year ago, they buffed several Japanese destroyer gun setups by increasing the turret traverse a little bit and increasing the rate of fire while not actually changing the DPM. That means that they actually decreased the alpha damage, but let you shoot more often. And this is supposed to make it more comfortable, basically, and I think it really does. Especially if you don't need to maneuver that much, these guns are quite usable, and the alpha damage is still 10,800. The shell arcs are also pretty good, but not quite flat enough such that there's actually a lot of islands on the various maps that you can sit behind and shoot over. We did launch torps at the Indy, but they missed. We're basically going to finish him and actually kill him entirely just with the guns. I smoked because I wasn't sure if he had secondaries that would wreck me, but because he decided to charge the smoke, it was a little bit too late. Either way, he's dead. Probably I should have saved one of the torp launchers, but it's whatever. So now we can see there's a destroyer in the west, and there is a destroyer who's going down south for some strange reason. I want to pull back toward the center, maybe even all the way to G4, because that would be a good place to make a stand against the two destroyers. It's a very safe place because you can retreat behind that island, and because the Japanese destroyer guns are all located in the back, you can keep a lot of firepower in that direction when you're running away from people. I launched these torps at the edge of that island because that's where I anticipate the Mayhem to be, but the Leningrad shows up right on my tail through the smoke. This is a good fight for him because I'm low, but it's also a reasonable fight for me because of the backward-facing firepower. I think he messed up by either trying to launch torps or not being able to get his guns to track, because he should have a faster reload than me, but I felt like we fired two salvos basically at the same time, trading without either of us getting the flesh wound. We did get a Kraken from that, though, so that's pretty good for this ship. And the Mayhem won't show himself before the timer runs out, so there's pretty much nothing left to see. So that's the Akatsuki. It's a fast, spammy torpedo boat with moderately good guns, and it only trades like a little bit of concealment for that. And then all of the tier 7 destroyers have pretty crappy concealment anyways. So we got a Kraken, we sunk 5 ships, we hit 6 torpedoes, had 81 shell hits, 2 fires, and all the ribbons, basically. Despite that, we were not even top of the team. That goes to Mighty Earl with more than 2,000 base XP. So the details screen shows the nice variety of damage we got. We torped at the battleships, and we shot at the Independence and the Leningrad. All the shots were HE. We did fire some AP. I'm not sure what that was at, but for the most part, you probably aren't getting too much AP damage on anything besides like Omahas. But I think that's everything I have for this replay. So have a nice day.